fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today, I'm going to be working on my gingerbread lighthouse. I'm still trying to get this one finished. I don't know if I'm going to make it before the end of the year. I would like to finish this one and my little Batman that I opened before the end of the year. Don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm going to keep working on it and try. So let me zoom into where I'm going to be working, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, let me get started here. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear some of the background noises. Hopefully I can get most of those edited out. It is super windy here today. We are getting all kinds of snow, and the waves are really high. If I remember, I'll try to get a picture of everything rolling in. I'm still not used to seeing the beach with snow on it. We didn't get as much snow here as they were forecasting, I don't think. We'll see how much other places got when we head over to the in-laws for Christmas later this week. And while I like being at the beach and being able to see the water, and it's very cool because it's not something I was ever able to do where I lived previously, I am over sand getting everywhere. So hopefully after the first of the year, when everything kind of settles down, we have everything transferred over and everything kind of lined up for our house, we will be able to start really house hunting and finding something. It has been really cool to be here. I don't want to make it sound like it's not cool to be on the beach, because it is. It was actually really cool earlier this week because there was a lot of ice. It was really cold, and so there was a lot of ice coming in towards the beach, just kind of big chunks of ice that then washed up onto the beach, and then it looked like somebody had taken a bunch of shaved ice and dumped it on the beach. It was kind of cool. And I'm watching all the seagulls out there thinking, man, how are they not freezing to death? But I guess they're made for this. Anyway, it has been really cold. I did order some additional thermals for myself to wear as a base layer. That has helped, although not as much as I had hoped. So I think I'm just going to bite the bullet and go buy myself one of those like snow bib overalls kind of thing. And that'll be very nice and downy and fuzzy on the inside, but windproof and snowproof on the outside. The biggest thing is the wind. We did actually, it was cold enough the other day, I bought my son a balaclava and he was actually wearing it, although he was complaining about it getting moist on the inside. I'm like, well, that's your breath. That's what helps keep your face warm. And he's like, yeah, but it gets wet and then it sticks to my face. I'm like, well, that's just how they work, isn't it? That's how it works when I wrap my scarf around my face. If I wrap it too tight, then it gets moist from my breath. The other day we were out walking and it was so windy that when we got back I had frost on my eyelashes. So yeah, it's a little different here than home. It's taking some getting used to. I still haven't managed to convince my son to go buy boots or a coat, but pretty sure that's going to be happening pretty quickly here because it's getting pretty cold. I need some better gloves. My winter gloves that I thought would be thick enough for here are not at all. So I still need to get a few things for myself as well. More wool socks to wear around the house. I have a pair of slippers that I wear. We are trying to be very good about, especially with all the sand, not wearing our regular shoes around the house like I would. Part of it is it's tile floors here, so the sand is really noticeable. Easier to clean, but the tile does make the floors colder. So I have slippers that I've been wearing, but sometimes my feet are just too cold, even with socks on in the slippers. So I got my son a pair of slippers. He'd been walking around in just socks and stepped in a puddle of something and then decided with all this snow, maybe some hard sole slippers would be nice so he wasn't soaking up things with his feet. So I got him a pair of those for his birthday. I also, as a little splurge for myself, bought myself a new mouse mat. I had one that's one of those that you rest your wrist on for my carpal tunnel, but it was just too small and it kept getting in the way, and I wanted something bigger, so I got one of those big mouse mats that kind of just takes up your whole desk. So you just put your keyboard and everything on it, and then you can just move your mouse wherever you want. It's like a really nice grayscale scene of like pine trees and stuff, very wintry. So I'm digging it. We did go out this week. We were looking at cars again, and we went to a nearby town. So while we were out, we did a couple of fun things. We went down to the river and I got some cool photos. There's like a cool bridge, and went down by one of the marinas and got some cool photos close to the water. It was also icy, so that was cool. We also stopped and ate at a Irish pub. It's an old stone building. It looked like it was built back in the 1700s or so. Super cool. Crowded, but super cool. And it was really good. My husband had the fish and chips because he can't resist fish and chips. And I had the chicken Caesar wrap. It was so good. Definitely want to go there again. My stepson was jealous. He and his girlfriend have wanted to go there, but they can only go on the weekends. We were there during the week, and during the weekends it's super crowded, and it's not very big. It's just a bunch of chairs shoved in this old, what probably was a house at one point. So it's not really conducive to big crowds anyway, but it was really good. 10 out of 10, would go there again. So that was fun. Didn't find any cars that we wanted. They were all in our price range, but too old, too beaten up, too rusty. So we may have to reconsider what we're willing to spend. We are still trying to work out the one that we looked at before. It had heated seats, but the bottom part of the seat didn't work. Like your back would get warm, but it wouldn't work on the part where your bottom is. So we talked to them and they were going to look at it and see what they needed to do to fix it. I don't know if they're actually going to fix it or not. Sometimes if they fix it, they want more money or whatever. But this one was nicer than all the other ones we'd looked at. It had more extras in it, had an electric seat, the seats were heated, and it had remote start, which I've had before. Not a huge deal in the States to have it, especially where we were living. I mean, it got cold, but it wasn't that big a deal. Plus, we had a garage. Here, with no garage, having remote start sounds like something I really, really want, just so I can get it to warm up a little bit before I head out if we're going to go somewhere. And shout out to Jess, who told me that on this kit there were symbols that were hard to tell apart, and that's the ones I'm doing. I don't know if you can tell, and I'll probably talk about this again in my post-completion review, but basically right now I'm doing an H, and then it's this bow tie symbol, and when you shrink them down on the canvas, it's super hard to tell them apart, and they're both dark browns. So I'm sure there's ones that I'm placing incorrectly because I can't see the difference, but I figure they're both dark browns. It's not going to be a huge deal. Everything looks good so far from a distance. When I step back and look at it, if I place a wrong drill here or there, no one will ever know. And if you do, don't tell me. I'm trying to get... All the other symbols are so nice and clear. I don't know why they put these two particular ones together. Like if you wanted to put them on the canvas, I'm fine with them both being on the canvas, but not right next to each other. Once I get a bunch of the H's, or what I think are H's, filled in, it gets a little bit easier to tell what's an H and what's a bow tie sometimes. The rest of the canvas has been great, so I'm just trying to... This tree and the two trees on the side, which I've got a good portion of them done, so hopefully as I go through the rest, I won't have too much more trouble. And everything else, like I said, has been great, so... Okay, got a little bit off track there. What else was I talking about? Christmas is coming up. Is everybody ready for Christmas if you celebrate? I am really struggling because I was thinking about it today, actually, before I started filming, and I've never not been around my family for Christmas. I mean, we have done things where, like, our tradition was to get together on Christmas Eve with grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins, all that stuff. So like once my siblings and I were all married and had kids, we would go to my mom's house for Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day we would each be with our own individual families. But I'm finding it difficult that I'm not going to see my siblings on Christmas Eve, and even harder that I'm not going to see my oldest on Christmas Day. I mean, we're going to do a video call, so I'll see her, but it's not the same as being in the same room and all of that. Hubby and I had toyed with the idea of buying her a plane ticket and flying her out because she's on Christmas break, but with all the weather and everything around here, she'd get stuck somewhere. And it's not just here that we have to worry about, all up and down the East Coast. So anywhere she'd be flying in from, she might get stuck somewhere. And I didn't want her to be stuck anywhere during Christmas. That doesn't sound like any fun. Or us having to worry about her being stuck somewhere, which turned out to be a good thing because when I talked to her yesterday, she apparently has the crud. My sister was sick a week or so ago. Apparently, there's been something making the rounds at the town where they live and work, and my daughter said she's got a really bad cough. And I said, well, of course, the mom and me, I'm sure she knows this, but take some cough medicine, buy some cough drops. And she's like, well, I'm out. Go to the store and buy some more. It's that sort of thing that I miss, just being able to, hey, I'll bring you some chicken soup because you're not feeling good or whatever. And we've all been there as young adults trying to figure out how to do things on your own, that sort of thing. But just as her mom, want to make it as seamless as possible, right? Looking through here to see if I've missed any H's. Sometimes I think it's an H, and then I'm like, no, that's not an H. And then when I come back for the second pass, I'm like, yeah, that's an H. Anyway, so we're going to be going to my in-laws for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. At some point in there, I'll be making video calls to the siblings. My daughter's going over to my sister's house. My brother's coming over there, so she'll be with family at Christmas. It's not like she's going to be completely alone. And she's going to do a Christmas with her friends. The day is not important, it's the people. So I'm just struggling a bit. I miss my baby. And my youngest is in that stage where he doesn't let me baby him for anything. So my oldest is sick, which she was complaining about because it's the start of her Christmas vacation. And I'm like, well, one, it's kind of better to be sick now when you can stay at home. You're still getting paid, right? So stay at home, feel better, don't have to worry about trying to get up and going to work. Two, it's way better than last year when she was having emergency surgery. So I'll take it. That's a win in my book. Okay, I think I got all the H's. If you see what I missed, don't tell me, it's fine. I'll just pretend it's a bow tie and move on. So we're going to the in-laws, and we went out earlier this week to go get gift certificates. We did a little bit of shopping while we were out looking at cars the other day, so I picked up a couple things for the youngest. I think that's part of why I'm struggling. We don't even have a tree. I've got like a little ceramic tree that I want to put up, but it's not the same as having a full-size tree. So I'm just missing all of my normal Christmas traditions, which we'll make new ones, and it was a little bit weird. We actually did most of our shopping, well, pretty much all of our shopping except for the folks back home in person this year because we left it so late because we were so busy doing everything else that I was like, oh, if I've missed the ordering window, if I order it online, nothing will get here on time. So I picked up a few things for the youngest. Hubby and I are like, we're not going to buy each other anything really. Everything else is going to get put into the new house whenever we find that. We got gifts for my mother-in-law and brother-in-law. Got him my brother-in-law some nice whiskey and some nice liqueur for my mother-in-law. We did gift cards for everything else. But gift cards, well, I guess my sister-in-law, we bought lottery tickets. Because I guess here in Canada, if you win lottery money, it's tax-free. That must be nice. I can't imagine what that would be like. Not like that in the States. Anyway, so she's getting scratch tickets, and then everybody else is getting gift cards. And we went out with my stepson and his girlfriend for dinner earlier this week and had a good time. I really like his girlfriend. Had a good time talking with them, and he works at a outdoor store, so he's going to try and get us hooked up with like some skiing and snowboarding and ATVing and doing some more outdoor activities. So that should be fun. I think my son will really enjoy that. I just sent money to my sister for gift cards for everyone back home because that was just easier. She sent me a couple of packages of mail and she's like, wow, I can't believe. Well, the postal strike was on at the time. So the first box she sent FedEx and the second one she sent UPS. The UPS box was slightly less expensive, but it also took longer to get here. And I mean, I'm reimbursing her for whatever she spends on postage, but I told her before we left, I said, it's going to be expensive. And she's like, wow, I didn't realize it was going to be that much. We got gifts. And then I got back home and went to start wrapping them and realized I didn't bring any wrapping paper. We have no bows, no wrapping paper, no tags, no boxes to put things in, that sort of thing. We had to go to the store and pick some of that stuff up. We picked up wrapping paper and bows. And then after I got home and started wrapping some stuff, I realized, oh, well, I can wrap everything for the in laws, but the stuff for here at the house, when we do our own Christmas, I don't have any boxes to put anything in. I don't have any packages, envelopes, nothing like that. We didn't, if I'd thought ahead, I could have been saving them from various things, but I wasn't. So when my sister's box arrived, I was like, oh, I'm going to save this one. I can fit something in here. So our packages will be a little crazy this year. Some of them, or at least one of them, is just going to get shoved in like a bubble mailer because that's all I have to put it in. We may get out one more time before Christmas to the store so I can pick up some boxes and things. And we're not having a huge Christmas, so I don't need a ton of them, but it's just another thing that I'm like, I like to be super organized. I keep wrapping paper for all occasions and bows and boxes for putting things in and little tiny gift boxes for like gift cards to put those in. And I got rid of all of that stuff when we moved because it didn't seem like it was worth it to haul it all in the trailer. And I don't think it would have been, but I'm just very discombobulated. Everything is all different and I don't deal well with change. So yeah, it's been a struggle a little bit. We are trying to find a way to settle into this new normal. Everything's still a little bit up in the air till we find our permanent housing, but we have managed to get most of the paperwork done that we needed. We all have switched over our driver's licenses. We have tags and registration for the car and the trailer. We're looking at buying a second car, so we have more than one mode of transportation. The trailer is just going to sit until, well, pretty much all winter. It still has things in it, but just things that we don't need in the house with us. Some pieces of furniture, some clothing, things like that. So it will stay out there just kind of parked until we figure out where we're going after the rental. Hubby put Christmas lights on it for me, so now it looks like it has little icicles hanging off of it. It's really pretty in all the snow. We also put up some like multicolored lights on the deck just because it makes it a little bit easier to see when we come home in the dark. We know which one is ours. So now we're just waiting for everything to arrive. Now that the post office is open again, we're waiting for all of our cards, our driver's licenses, and things like that to arrive in the mail, which hopefully will be soon. And then we can move on to whatever the next steps are. We have an appointment to talk to the tax people again about helping us file our taxes here in Canada for our first year and then in the US. I still don't understand how it's all going to work, but we're having another meeting with them, so I'll ask a bunch of questions and see. Now that we're here and I know sort of how things go, and my husband says to me, you don't need to know how everything works. And I'm like, I know I don't need to know. I mean, is it going to affect anything if I don't know how it works? No, but I feel better knowing how things work. I think that's part of why I feel so discombobulated because so much of this is just completely new that it's like, what do we do from here? Oh, also, I forgot, we're still waiting on our bank cards, our debit cards from the bank. Hubby has it set up on his phone because that is something I have discovered. Everyone here pretty much banks on their phone, at least in this area of Canada, and they're all on Facebook. I mean, our insurance agent was contacting us through Facebook, and it's like, just email us. I'm not on Facebook for my personal life. I just find it funny that that's kind of where everybody goes. Anyway, I don't want my bank stuff on my phone. I just want my debit card. Haven't been able to get it because the mail was not in service. So now that it is in service again, hopefully those sorts of things will start wending their way towards us. We did have an interesting situation pop up. Some of this, I guess, is because I just didn't understand. So we sold our house in the States. We had a house and then an empty lot beside it. People bought our house, but then said they wanted to buy the lot, but they wouldn't be able to purchase it until next year sometime, next spring. So we said, okay, which meant that technically we are still the owners of the property in the States. So I needed to pay the property taxes on it. Property taxes in our area come due on the 20th of December, which I knew. So around the 10th or so, I started getting online and seeing what I needed, and we had something come in the mail. So I was able to get online and just using information, pay it all online. So I thought I was done. When my sister's package arrived, it had the tax information in there, and I'm like, well, I've already paid this. But then I realized it was also included the bill for the property tax on the house. And I was like, well, wait a minute. In our closing, it was our understanding, hubby's and mine, that the title company would be paying the property tax when it came due. So I called the tax office and said, has this been paid? And she said, no. I'm like, okay. And she said, it's due on the 20th. We go by the date that it's postmarked. It's possible that they've mailed in the payment. It just hasn't been posted yet, but I don't show that it's been paid. Okay. So I call the title company. Basically, after a couple of phone calls, there is a cutoff date for the county to change the tax rolls and mail out the tax bills. So they have a cutoff date, and then after that, they don't change or update any addresses until after the bills for the year go out. Okay, I understand they have to have a cutoff date. We closed, I guess, on the day of that cutoff date. So the bill is still in our name and address, which is why it came to us. And so I said to the title company, okay, well, when are you guys going to pay it? And she's like, no, because the owners of the house, the people that bought it, paid cash, the title company isn't doing anything with it. It's the responsibility of the new owners to pay it. Money came off of the house proceeds that was given back to them to cover our portion of the property tax for the amount of the year that we occupied the house. Okay, I understood all that, but I just understood that the title company was going to pay it. She said, no, it needs to be the new people. I'm like, okay, well, today's the due date. They're telling me it hasn't been paid. What do I do? And she's like, well, she was going to contact the new owners because we didn't have any information from them. All we had was a name and, of course, the address of the house, but no phone numbers or anything on any of our paperwork. And she said she would contact them and see if they had made a payment, which they may have. I don't know. My husband thinks I'm crazy for worrying about it. And I'm like, I think it's just because I didn't understand the way that it was going to work. And I sort of feel bad, like the bill came to us instead of them. And maybe they're very on the ball and they knew that it was not going to come to them and all of that. Because the lady that did the closing at the title company said, oh no, they would have gotten a big spiel about how this is when property taxes is due here. You'll need to contact the county and pay the bill because it won't come to you. But I feel bad for not realizing that. Had I realized that, then I would have gotten a copy of it, sent it to our realtor and said, hey, can you forward this on to the new owners because it came to us. So yeah, these are the minutiae that occupy my mind during the day. I need to get busy doing other things to occupy my brain. I feel like we spend too much time cooped up in the house. Like I said, it feels sort of like a vacation, but not. Like nobody's going to work, so that feels like a vacation. We're staying in a rental, that feels like a vacation. We're in a place that we don't know very well, so that feels like a vacation. But we're not getting out and doing like touristy sightseeing type things. I think maybe I'm just going a bit stir crazy. I mean, we've been out and about. I've gone with my husband to look at cars. We've gone a couple of places and looked at, I don't know if I'd call them touristy things, but at least things that are new to me, having never lived here with all this weather before. But yeah, just Christmas is usually my favorite time of year, and I feel a little out of sorts because I'm not able to do all the regular things that I would normally do. Anyway, other than that, everything is going fine. There's no reason for me to be out of sorts, but it's just a lot of change. And as we've discussed many times, and I reminded my husband again this morning, I don't deal well with change. That's enough of my moaning and complaining. Everything is good. It's just new. So I just need to get used to it. All right, so let's move on to my diamond painting life. What is going on in my diamond painting life? Mostly this kit. I'm trying to finish this kit. and the little Batman one, like I said, before the end of the year. That would mean I've completed my 35 finishes, so hopefully I can do that. This one is taking a little bit longer than I expected. It's a lot of confetti, as you can see here, particularly on this tree with all the lights and everything. It looks really good though. I'm happy with how it's turning out. So even though it is confetti, and this is the bottom part of it, all the trees and everything is more confetti. You can see when I get over here into kind of the sky portion of it, it's like a dark night sky. There'll be a lot more multi-placing than I'm currently doing. So hopefully as I get towards the end, it will go faster. And we are going to have a couple of days at least where we're not out running around doing things with family. So I will have some time to sit and diamond paint. Goodness knows there's going to be plenty of football on for me to diamond paint while hubby and the youngest are watching football. I don't remember having a football game on Christmas before, but I didn't really follow football when I was younger, so maybe we did and I just don't remember it. But anyway, so I'm planning on working on this and then the Batman kit. Hopefully the Batman kit will go pretty quickly. It's not very big. It's like a 30-ish by 30-ish, so I can do that one fairly quickly, I'm pretty sure. I'm actually really loving how all these little twinkling lights are turning out on this decorated Christmas tree. I think it looks really cool. So if you missed, well, my last couple of videos, my last video was, yesterday's video was video number 7 in my Diamond Painting for Beginners series, where I talk about what to do when you finish a kit. So if you've been following that series and you finish something and you want to know what you can do with it when you're done, hopefully I covered most things in there. So go check that out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button while you're doing that so you don't miss anything else. I don't know how many more videos I'm going to have in that series. I have at least one more planned, but I think maybe that will be it for that series. So hopefully people found that series helpful. It was helpful to me just to kind of go back and look at all the things I've learned since the beginning. Also, the video before that was the video about my goals for next year, my diamond painting goals for 2025. I have, I think, 7 goals, and one of them is going to be slashing my stash. After moving everything, packing it all, hauling it up here in the trailer, unpacking it, trying to find a place for everything, I just, because we're planning on downsizing, I don't think I'm going to have the same amount of space as I used to for my crafting / diamond painting. I mean, basically, I pretty much took over an entire bedroom in our old house. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. At the very least, if we have an extra bedroom, it will have to actually have a bed in it for when my daughter comes to visit, which means that I can't take up the entire room with all of my diamond painting and crafting stuff. So I need to downsize a bit. And I'm just to the point where I think I've done this for long enough now that even though my stash has been larger at some points than it is currently, it feels unmanageable. So I want to spend some time working on getting it down to a more manageable for me level, if that makes sense. I don't know what that means necessarily. I said in that video, I'm not going to give myself a number that I'm striving for or whatever, because I don't want to tell myself that I can't buy stuff. But it's been helpful so far that most of the stuff that's come out is not stuff that I was interested in buying anyway. But that might change next year. Someone also asked in my goal video on the comment if I was, because I lowered my budget, and then they asked if that was in Canadian or US dollars, which was something I really hadn't even considered, but probably should have. It's going to be in Canadian dollars. And the reason for that is that even if I pay with my US bank account, if I'm having it shipped to Canada, I have to pay the Canadian prices. So keeping track of it all just in Canadian dollars seems way easier than trying to keep track of the exchange rate and account for that and move things back and forth. We're likely going to get enough of that doing our taxes. So yeah, I think the budget is going to stay in Canadian dollars. Eventually everything will probably be moved out of the States anyway, and then we'll see. I mean, we're going to keep our US bank accounts just because it doesn't cost us anything to keep them open, because banks in the US don't charge bank fees to maintain accounts. I mean, they might if there was no activity or something, but At least for the foreseeable future, we'll leave them open. We may close them at some point in the future. Some point in the future when I can talk my family into moving up here too. Anyway, so yeah, everything for the budget for next year will be in Canadian dollars. I'll probably still do a bit of figuring just for people who are in the States what that translates to, but I don't want to have to try and keep track of every transaction, every diamond painting I buy, and move it one way or the other. So that's the plan anyway. That may change too. Events for next year, I actually sat down and made a list of every month and tried to find an event for pretty much every month. Of course, I'm doing my own 2 events that I'm going to host, the DP for Pets in June and DP for Veterans in November, so make sure you have both of those on your calendars. I did also hit up Kay's Facebook group to look and see what events were listed for 2025. I think I only made it through April, but I had enough events that I knew were probably going on, like Drills and Chills is September and October. If they do Summer with the Masters, I have a couple of kits that I can choose from for that. Or if they do like a Muka Mania again, there's usually a Mermaids and Magic or a mermaid event. I've got a mermaid kit that I would like to do. Just those sorts of things so I can pick out kits from my stash. I didn't fill up every single month. I did want to leave myself a little bit of leeway to come across an event and be like, oh, well, maybe I can do this kit for that. I need to get a little bit more creative about figuring out how I can make kits work for events, especially since I'm not participating for the prizes anyway. So if I can come up with a justification for it, then I can do the kit for whatever event. Even if it technically wouldn't qualify for prizes, that's okay. I'm not doing it for the prizes. I'm doing it so that we can all have fun posting pictures and everything. So if you were in the Facebook group and you were doing other events and you would like to post progress pics, please do. Even if it's not my event, I like to see what everyone is working on. Even if it's not for an event, if you just have a kit that you really like that you're working on, I'm always interested in seeing people's progress pics. Or if you find a cool new tool or new shop, you can always share that in the Facebook group as well. A thank you to everybody. I think it was the goals video because I talked about I want to buy from some more Canadian companies now that we're here in Canada. And I had lots of people give me good suggestions for companies to try out. So I have a list of at least 4 or 5 to start me off, and then we'll see where I end up. I mean, there's a few that I've already purchased from that I probably will purchase from again, and then there's a few that I have not purchased from that I will be buying something from. It gives me a little bit of a way to spend my budget and have some new things to show you guys. So, and there's always new companies popping up. So if you think it's something I haven't seen or heard, then leave me a comment for that below. Like I said, always looking for cool new things. Hopefully next year I'll stay a little bit more on track than I did this year. I mean, I'm going to cut myself some slack this year. We moved countries. That's a big deal. And we're going to be moving houses next year, but hopefully that will be less of a big deal than moving countries. I did also ask in a previous video what people thought if I needed to change anything for my 2 events. I was contemplating making some changes and perhaps not requiring a finish, but the overall consensus and my own personal preference is that people like the ending montage video. And if I don't require a finish, then I don't have any finishes to show you guys in the video. I toyed around with making some other changes as well. And I finally just decided I've been doing this for long enough now. It's kind of not old hat, but I know what I'm doing. So it's not as time consuming as it used to be to do all the things. And I like the way it goes. So I'm just going to leave everything the way it is. I know that makes it difficult for some people to finish something because not everybody has the same amount of diamond painting time, but that goes for any event, right? And I need time to do other things. I may be going back to work part-time, so that may occupy more of my time in the coming year. Certainly I have some other creative endeavors planned that are going to occupy more of my time, which just means that I don't have as much time for diamond painting as I did. Not that I won't be doing it, not that I don't have plans to continue this channel, I do, but there's only 24 hours in a day, right? I'm only one person, so I can only do so many things. I'm trying to talk my youngest into learning editing so that I can turn over editing to him, and then I just have to worry about filming, but he's resisting that process so far, so I'll keep working on him. Also, a little bit of a bummer. I was looking back because I'm planning to do a here's all the things I finished in 2024 video, and I wanted to go pull all of my photos because when I finish a kit, I will take a finished photo that's the whole kit, and then I will take a series of close-ups and like a B-roll and that sort of thing. So I have a mixture of footage, movie footage, and still photos. So I started to go back through all of my old videos that I have stored on my portable hard drive, and lots of them from this year have disappeared. I don't know where they went. They were originally on a smaller hard drive, and I spent quite a bit of time moving them onto a larger hard drive. I don't know where they went, but a lot of the things that I finished for this year, like I have the finished videos, the ones that I put out on the YouTube channel, but all of my original raw footage is somehow missing. I have somehow deleted, or it didn't copy over for some reason, my footage for like the bubble fairies. Well, all of my 5 oldest kits that I finished, like I said, I have the finished videos, but I don't have any of the raw footage. So my J wall that I finished, I don't have any raw footage or any of the photos from it other than what's in the finished video. Same with Jasper C and Bubble Fairies and Universe in a Jar and Belly Dancer, which were all my 5 oldest kits that I finished this year. My Daphne is missing, but not my Jetson. So I don't know. It's really weird why certain things are missing and certain things aren't. So like I said, I've got the finished videos, and if I didn't have those, I could have downloaded them from YouTube, but all my raw footage is gone, which is annoying. Like I even went through and looked to see if it somehow got dragged into the wrong folder on the hard drive, and I can't find any of them. So I don't know what happened to them. They just disappeared when I thought they were getting transferred. And we were having issues, so I was double checking as we went. So I really don't know what happened. Very frustrating. So I told my husband I need to figure out a better way to store stuff, I guess, because I don't want this to happen again. So yeah, I wasn't super happy to find that out, but nothing I can do about it at this point. Okay, so I got most of the tree finished. I missed an AB there, and I missed an AB there that I need to go back and fill in. I missed one there. But now I'm moving over into this next couple of sections is going to be a lot more multi-placing, so hopefully that will go quickly. I'm actually hoping I can finish up this row and maybe another one this weekend while everybody's watching football. But I also want to get some filming done ahead of time so I'm not having to film on actual holiday days. I'll just have to play it by ear. So you can see here I've got the Christmas tree with all of the lights and everything in it, just a couple places to fill in, like I said, my little sailboat over here, and then this is all night sky over to here. You can see some of the snow down here. There's one of the little gumdrops and a little bush behind the house that starts over here. So I'm on my way. Once I finish this row, I will be half done. So if I make it that far before Monday, I will be happy. So I need to get busy. Like I said, there's going to be plenty of football on though, so I should be okay. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Thanks for putting up with all my belly aching. Things will get better. I know that. It's just, like I said, I have no patience and I don't deal well with change. So it's been a challenge. So before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.